Hey, Mike here from Teeth for Eyes. It's time to go listen to the Roosta show. Hurry up, it's starting.
Yes, the danger must be growing, for the rowers keep on rowing, and they're certainly not showing any sign that they're slowing. Stop! See the guilt dropping in our heads. Now we're asleep in our bloody beds. Rid ourselves of godly crutch, of broken legs. Don't hustle much. Reaching forward, falling back. The more we progress, the more we lack. And Nagasaki built the sun right on the ground, but at least we won. Use the pretty, lose the rest. It's evolution at its best. Reaching forward, falling back. The more we progress,
Hello, my friends. How you doing? This is your favorite host with the most body count. How you doing? I'm doing great. Today we have a wonderful guest. Wait, what? A wonderful guest of a band that I fell in love right when they first started. So we got the lead singer of that band, Crashdog, here today. And it's gonna be Spike. He's a good guy, man. He does a lot of fishing, hunting, and stuff like that, you know. So we're gonna figure out what's going on with him in his life. He's a cartoonist. So I've seen some of his stuff, and it's pretty good. He's darn good. Great artist. So he should be here any second. Please stand by. See, Crashdog was a part of this underground punk scene back in the day, back in the 90s. And they came out with Crucified and a bunch of other good stuff that Fluffy. They came out during that time. So it's great to have them here because it's like a band that I grew up loving. So I hope you love them as well. Well, the old school, like the first three albums. Holy pickles. How you doing? Uh-oh. The volume. It says there's no volume.
How we doing?
Okay, that's better. There's your wonderful voice. There you
There
go.
you go. There you go.
That's great. This is all we need to do. Thank you for your time. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. You have a good day. No, just joking.
Yeah. There you go. Shortest
Yeah.
interview ever.
Yeah, I know. But hey, it's heartfelt though, man. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Hey, man. Well, first of all, I want to say bless you and thank you for your time.
I appreciate
Yeah,
it. Thanks for reaching out.
yeah, definitely. You are definitely one of the highlights of my year because I mean I was a young babe in the Lord, and I was listening to Crucified, the first album, and I needed some more punk. And all of a sudden, some guy, when I was in in Anaheim, California, he goes, "Hey man, have you ever checked this band out, Crashdog?" I'm like, "No, I haven't. I'm gonna have to check it out." So I bought your first album, which was actually your second album. You had Hard Knocks for Hard Heads, but I
Yep.
never heard that one. So I got Humane Society, and then
Yep.
Pursuit of Happiness. I bought both those.
Awesome.
So yeah. So those are the first three albums that you were on, right?
So yeah, Hard Knocks for Hard Heads was just a cassette we did, and then we did Humane Society, Pursuit of Happiness, and then we did Mud Angels. And right after Mud Angels released, we did a tour on that, and then after that tour, I stepped out.
Okay, so Mud Angels was your last album. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
94. Yeah, 94.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, I played that on the air actually.
Yeah.
Mud Angel. Yeah, I used to be a radio DJ out here in
Okay.
Idaho, so it was kind of fun. Just for a little
Cool.
bit though. It was just
Yeah.
like Friday night thing, and I do the
Yeah.
heavier stuff.
Yep.
That was pretty fun. So now this band, I mean, what made you want to part ways with the band, if you don't mind me asking,
Oh,
without
yeah, no
bumping
problem. I
heads?
mean, it was kind of interesting because I mean, I basically was the person who was the one who had started it, and in mid to late '80s,
Yeah.
and watched it grow. And I was on tour of that '94 tour, and it was the most dates and extensive tour I'd ever done.
Mm.
And I can't remember how much time I was away from home, but about midway through the tour, I kind of had this wake up call. And there was a lot of things culminating to that decision, but one of them was I kept meeting musicians in the Christian music scene who were like on their second or third wives or stressed out relationships, or just, and not that I'm judging them, but just thinking like I
Yeah.
didn't really want to. I saw a general path, and that was people who were putting music in their and then music ministry before their commitment to their relationships. And
Yeah.
I woke up middle of a van ride. I can't remember what city we were going to next, but I just was kind of lighter part of the tour. I was getting pretty worn down, and I just started thinking like, I stood up before a church and God and made a commitment to my wife, and she's not in this van, and I'm spending less and less time. And the guys that were in at the time that were in the band were getting really motivated to do more albums, more tours. Just a lot of like, we're gonna just keep. This is just the next step.
We're
And so
keeping this momentum going.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. I was excited for them, but I just was kind of stopping thinking, I really got to take an assessment of what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
I have this running joke, with guys, young married guys. I'll tease them and tell them the straight up truth, and I'll say, hey, a lot of times women need to know that, especially, I don't care Christian or non-Christian, but definitely the Bible makes it clear that Paul says, if you're going to be married, be married,
Yeah.
and he actually goes
27
so
years
far.
almost. Right here.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're
My
hitting
poor girl.
37.
My poor girl.
Yeah, they suffer through us a lot. But I had this thing I told these young guys. I said, hey, uh, when I finally made the decision to leave the band, it was the number one reason why I was just putting my wife before, all these other issues, all these other things. And if I hadn't known how good the sex was going to be after I made that decision, I would have left the band 3 years earlier.
No doubt.
So here's the joke. When your wife feels at ease and she feels like she's prioritized, there is
Yep.
a usually, if you're married to a good lady,
Mm-hmm.
there's usually a good result
Outcome.
yeah. And so
Yeah.
obviously we don't do it just to get that, but there is doing the right thing is just doing the right thing before the Lord. And it caused some stress because the guys, they thought it was going to put a big old hang up on their momentum, and there was wasn't too many happy people in the Crash Dog camp with me, and and I had to do the right thing and just bow out, and I hoped them all well, and I wasn't like angry or mad at them. I knew also that would also change if they were to continue. It would change Crash Dog, sound wise, and even some of the message and even the projection as a band. And so,
Oh,
but like I said, I hope the best. I went to some of their shows afterwards. I always try to be supportive, and but I moved on, and it's kind of funny because anytime somebody wants to talk to me or interview me for being Crash Dog, which left over 30 something years ago, they're shocked that I have moved on and done something different with my life other than the music, and I really didn't even get into Crash Dog because I was I'm probably one of the most uh, unmusical persons you'll ever interview.
oh
I'm
no,
probably the
funny.
least talented musical person, and I didn't get into. I mean, really, like you started off the interview why I left the band, and that's fine. But the truth is like for me, is like why I got into the band was in Chicago in the '80s. There was a local down one of the city parks here. There was a local peace festival every year,
Hmm.
and it was secular peace festival. So it was like all the hippies and punks and the freaks showing up and Buddhists
That's
and
awesome.
and Jesus people. We were really into at the time street evangelism. So we'd go down there with tracts and
Yep.
we'd go share the gospel with people. And here
Yep.
I am, this young punker kid with my hair up in spikes, and I got my painted leather jacket. I'm 16 years old. I'm at this peace festival handing out tracts, and I noticed that in between band performances, and these are all local Chicago bands, that the different causes would get up and share their message. So
Hmm.
you had the Buddhists getting up and sharing, you had the anarchists, you had the legalization for marijuana, you had all the different causes getting up. So I went up to the stage manager as a 16-year-old kid and said, "Hey, can I get up and share a message about peace?" And he saw me and said, "Sure, man, this young punk kid's probably got something to say," and
Yeah.
he put my name on the list, and I waited a few bands, and I finally got up and I started sharing about the difference between temporal peace and eternal peace. And I mean, I was just winging this as a 16-year-old kid, brand new baby Christian. And once I said, like the difference between having temporal peace is, you have your girlfriend and your record playing and your weed. But what happens when she leaves you? Your album gets a scratch in it and you get busted for weed possession. Where's your
Yeah.
peace? I said, let me tell you about eternal peace. And everyone in the audience is like, oh man, yeah. I mean, they're all grooving on this until I say the only way you can get eternal peace is with Jesus Christ. Beer bottles thrown at me, spitting on me, cussing me out. Um, and, but I was excited as a young baby Christian. Like I got up, chance to share the
Yeah.
gospel, and I came
Exactly.
home. I was walking home that day from that festival, and I thought, well, what if I was in a band? I'd get more than a minute to share. I'd have 40 minutes to share, and
Exactly.
they could still throw bottles at me and scream and spit on me. It's fine, but I get 40 minutes of that. And cool thing about that was about a year later, a guy joined our church for a short little bit, and the pastor who was kind of in there interviewing him for the intake was asking like, "Well, how'd you become a Christian?" He goes, "Well, I was at this peace festival a year ago." And this little kid got up with spikes up in his hair, and he started talking about Jesus Christ, and people were spitting on him and throwing stuff at him. And I didn't think much about it at the time, but I went home that night and I really had an aching in my heart, and I got on my hands and knees and committed my life to Jesus that night.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, you never know the fruit that's going to happen when you share the
Exactly.
word.
Yeah.
And so, we started, I was reaching out to people within my organization. I work for and live in a Christian community called the Jesus People. And I was looking for other people to be willing to play. And, found a group of guys who were just starting how to play their instruments, and um, we kind of formed this band early, late '80s, early '90s. We started just grinding out our stuff, um, and it was right around, I'd heard of the Crucified and bands called like the Lead and Scattered Few, and these are all like you're getting a third hand copy of a tape. You couldn't find, there wasn't like a market, there wasn't like a place you could order online. So I was first
Exactly.
time I ever heard the Crucified. It was like a tape of a tape, and the Crucified was that Take Up Your Cross album. I still jam that to this day, and still
Oh,
one of the
yeah,
greatest.
I listen to them definitely weekly. I
Yeah,
mean, you guys too. I listen to your stuff, and I listen to the Lead. I love them.
yeah,
I had
great
them on
people.
my show. That was a good
Yeah,
show.
yeah, yeah, and I
And
knew them.
Head Noise.
Yep, yep, yep. And so, like, the organization I work for, Jesus People, they put on a Christian music festival for years called Cornerstone Music Festival,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's
Cornerstone. Yeah,
yep, and that's where I met Crucified the first time in the Lead, and I was a total fanboy. I was a total goofball fanboy as a kid, of them, and so, but as we again, like I said, and I was with the band for late '80s till '94.
yeah.
Probably the highlight of and I wouldn't say a highlight, but we had lots of memories, and uh, was we got invited to perform on the Jerry Springer show, and
Yeah, I know. I saw that, and
yeah,
you quoted the Pursuit of Happiness lyrics,
yeah, 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 and so we got a
which
call
later,
from
before we leave, if you remember them, I want you to say them.
okay,
All right,
oh,
because they're
they'll
deep.
be. Yeah, well, appreciate it. Thank you. Well, it's a funny thing, and I'll mention to you when I go to tell you the lyrics because there's a funny story about that. But, we get a call from our record company, got a call from the Jerry Springer. So they were trying to do a episode. This is before he started going full off, the deep end. But they were doing a show about the gospel being spread through different methods.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah,
So they did had a lady who had
makes
written the
sense.
first five of the books of the Bible in street slang, and
Oh,
she was a wonderful person, and she was just trying to reach kids on the street who wouldn't be able to understand
yeah.
KJV or whatever. And then they had a Christian Motorcycle Association guy, and then originally they had said, "Oh, you're just going to perform," and so we're like, "Oh, we'll perform," and then they mic'd me up to be on the panel discussion panel, and unprepared, totally threw me in. And then they had some pastor who showed up who was part of a real strict Baptist church out of Indiana
Yeah.
who was,
The guy in the suit. I saw that.
yeah, we're of the
Man,
devil and stuff. And
yeah, you might as
um,
well have Christian pornography.
yeah, 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 yeah. And so I think we disappointed the Jerry Springer staff because I think they wanted us to get real angry and upset and kind of go off on them. And
But
we
Jerry
just
seemed
loved
like he
them.
had your side.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
He's
I'm just
like,
saying.
let the boy, let him say. In fact, say some of your
Yeah, yeah.
lyrics. That's what he said.
Yeah, and so the
Yeah,
funny part about that Jerry Springer story is that I practiced in my lyrics. I'm the type of person that memory wise I have to know the first letter of the first word of a line, and so when Jerry was like, "Hey, quote that last line," I mean I went blank. I mean literally in front of millions of people, I looked like a
yeah.
and they probably edited some of that out. Um, but it's and as far as our lyrics for me, like when I was writing, I wrote most of the stuff for the band. I Andrew, the guitar player at the time, Andrew Mandel, and
Yeah.
we would
Who's
kind
now
of
the
come
lead
in.
singer, right?
Yeah, yeah, and then he moved into being lead singer. He
Yeah.
would come in and we would write lyrics, and he would always kind of help me clean stuff up or kind of challenge the way I wrote stuff, and I always
Yeah.
appreciated his input and insights. Um, of course, my main goal, being in a punk band, was like, um, I wanted to point people, that we're pointing out a fallen world.
Hmm.
As a punk band, you're pointing out that we live in a fallen world, and then we're pointing to the answer. And for
Yeah.
me, I was like, my thing was I want to point towards Jesus,
Yeah.
and it's a difficult thing, and I've seen this play out for 40 years because I'm involved in an organization that at times can people involved in the organization can get heavily involved in politics and their political viewpoints,
Oh, I
and
hate politics.
yeah, and
I really
and
do. Divides people.
oh yeah. Yeah, and it becomes a real bad poison, and I've seen it play out time and time again through the last 40 years as being a Christian, where it's funny because we're my wife and I are going through the show The Chosen, and for the second time, and you're watching these disciples that are so frustrated with Jesus because they're wanting a political solution. Like when are
Don't
you going to
they
destroy
always?
Rome? And so it's not a new human nature hasn't changed in 2,000 years,
No.
and so you see that in the Christian realm. When I see people who there's nothing wrong, I believe that as a Christian in America, you need to be aware of your rights and your political. Everyone's entitled to have a political opinion. Everyone's has the right to vote.
Yeah,
But the
of
minute
course.
you start separating yourself with people and like looking down and being angry and upset at people, like how can you even call yourself a Christian if you vote this way? Either both
Yeah.
sides, both. I've heard it from both sides, and to me, at the end of the day, your righteousness has nothing to do with who you vote for.
No,
But
nothing.
even saying that out loud, I have Christians in my life right now who would be really angry and upset with me for saying
Yeah.
that out loud. And as a person, as a believer right now, I have so many friends on both sides of the spectrum who believe strongly I'm called to treat with dignity and respect, no matter
Yeah.
how they vote or what their philosophy or ideas are. And but some of those people just can't handle that. They're so involved in this that the
Yeah.
minute you disagree with them on one small thing, they instantly see you as the threat and the problem.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
I've
and
noticed that with even a lot of some bands that I even grew up liking, like I don't want to point fingers. And
yeah.
I'll leave the name out of it. But there's been bands that I grew up loving, some alternative bands and stuff. Some I even seen, back in the day that gave a powerful message, and now they're like the left side, but really
Hmm.
weird, like really like anti-church,
Yeah.
and some of them agnostic and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, like, hey, I hate to put it. I mean, everybody knows about this guy, but one of my favorite bands was Vengeance Rising
Yeah.
with Roger, the stuff that happened with Roger Martinez. Just an
Hmm.
example.
Yeah.
He was one of my favorite singers of all time when it came to
Yeah.
metal. It still is. I still listen to Vengeance Rising every week.
Yeah.
I'm not
Hmm.
even joking. I listen to
Yep.
all that band, Sacrament, Seventh Angel, all that stuff, and One Bad Pig. Come on, dude, One Bad Pig.
Yeah.
They're
Absolutely.
freaking
Totally.
goofballs, man. I love them.
Yeah. Totally. Yep.
Anyway, so I just, I don't want that music to die. That's why I'm even doing this on my show. I mean, part of
Yeah.
it's like a selfish thing that, I'm grateful for the bands that have helped me when I was a young Christian, and now
Sure.
here I am, and this is kind of almost like my ministry is having this podcast.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's
Yep.
my
And
way
so,
of spreading worldwide love. Is the way I announce it to
absolutely.
people, and God is love to me. So that's
Yep.
all there is to it.
That's
How you
awesome.
doing? How you doing?
Yeah.
So you are a cartoonist, man. I like what you do.
Yeah. Well,
You're
thank you, man. I
you're
appreciate it. Yeah.
funny.
Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Yeah. So I left the band in '94, and um, basically, I mean, I've drawn cartoons since I was a little kid, and but about 2005, and it's actually kind of fun because people ask me how I started getting into cartoons, and I was going through some conflict with the church I was working with, and I was the Lord really kind of gave me an opportunity to process that through cartooning.
Huh.
So literally,
I
like
like
instead
the
of
Last Supper one. Oh, that's so
yeah,
funny.
Well, and so I just started drawing random cartoons. Well, I had a friend of mine who was a professional cartoonist, Kevin Frank, and he said, "Hey, man, you should send this stuff into some magazines." And I said, "Yeah, I don't." I was really dragging my feet. I was like, "I got enough rejection in my life. I don't need another person kicking me down, And he kept bugging me to do it. So finally, I sent some stuff off to some magazines, and I shockingly got accepted and paid for my work. And so that kind of encouraged me, and I started sending more stuff off. And one of the things that a lot of people don't realize that from me from Crashdog is that I'm an avid fisherman and hunter, and
Yeah.
so, yeah, I started drawing hunting and fishing cartoons for different magazines, and they started running them, publishing them, and that just grew and grew. And I came out during the height of the pandemic. My wife Amy said, "Hey, we should dig out all your cartoons and start seeing about putting a book together." And so we went through the whole process. I had probably 1,000 cartoons at that time that I had
Oh, that's awesome.
drawn, and so we narrowed it down to about 380 something cartoons that, some of those you went through them, and my wife was like, her whole thing was like, if it's inappropriate, we're not going to put it up there, which, and then also like it's some of them she just didn't think were funny, but because you're just drawing stuff, you just
Yeah, of
draw.
course.
I just drew a sketch last night, and I showed it to my wife this morning, and she's just like, she's wired a lot differently than I am, but she's like, I just don't get it, and that's fine. Don't make it doesn't mean it's not a funny cartoon. She just doesn't get it. But
Yeah.
so 2021, I came out with my first published book, and um, it's called Scattered Thoughts Cartoons. That's my hunting and fishing cartoons, and
Okay.
it was interesting
Is
because
that character you in it, by the way?
yeah, oh yeah. I just started
Yeah, I thought
drawing.
so.
Yeah, and one of the things that so with the hunting and fishing thing too is kind of interesting is uh, I when I very first started drawing for this one magazine, hunting magazine, I was telling the editor that I was so bad at hunting that a lot of my cartoons are based off of my foibles as a hunter. And
Oh,
and
okay.
the thing was really cool is that most hunters and fishermen can totally relate. They get that sense of feeling like you just got your butt kicked by nature,
Yeah.
and they connected with it. And so I told this editor at one point, if I ever get halfway decent at hunting and fishing, I think my cartoons might suffer. I might not be as good of a cartoonist. But they so and the one of the interesting dynamics about cartooning is I have kind of two categories. I have my hunting and fishing, and I have my faith-based cartoons.
Okay.
And a lot of my faith-based cartoons are just based off of things that I find funny within, not so much like I'm not laughing at God, I'm laughing about how we perceive God,
Oh,
how
yeah. Like
human
the
beings,
Last Supper thing, you know?
there's tons of those things like that are just begging to be drawn in a cartoon.
Yeah.
And
I can't
and
remember what
when
he said that you should have had instead of bread and wine. It was,
oh, it's cake and ice cream. Why couldn't we have cake
yeah,
and ice cream for the last
yeah,
supper?
cake and ice
But
cream. Yeah. Why
you
can't it be
know,
cake and ice
it's
cream?
like,
Yeah.
but one of the things that what's been an interesting dynamic for me on Facebook is that I kind of have these two worlds I juggle. A majority of people who like my hunting and fishing cartoons would probably lean more towards a conservative mentality, conservative
Yeah.
mindset.
Okay.
And a lot of the people that like my faith-based cartoons would lean more towards a liberal or Democrat viewpoint. So
Huh.
I somehow I either get these people to laugh at the same time, or I get vilified. And it's kind of funny when people get, these the conservatives will get on my page because they like my hunting and fishing cartoons. But if I make a cartoon that kind of makes them uncomfortable about their faith, they can get a little bit agitated. And
Yeah, of course.
conversely, if I draw a cartoon about an animal being shot or something, some of my liberal friends can get jacked up, and I always try to be kind of respectful for them all, I just let them know, like, hey, you're more than welcome to state your opinion. And there's also this nice feature called unfollow, so you're welcome to unfollow me anytime you want. But I'm
Yeah.
just doing what I do that I enjoy, and again, it's also to me, it's been a blessing because like with the hunting fishing thing, I've been real excited. Is that you don't know how many men I've met in the hunting community who grew up in the church that
Huh.
quit going because they didn't feel accepted in that crowd.
Huh.
And then they believe, well, I'm not close to God, or God doesn't, they fall into the lie of, well, if my church doesn't like me, then God must not like me.
Huh. That's horrible.
And then suddenly they're hunting with a guy who's like, it doesn't matter what your church thinks.
Yeah.
It matters what God thinks about you. And the last time I talked to him, he thinks you're wonderful. And
Yeah.
having this renewal of meeting men who are suddenly realizing like you don't have to dress or look or even talk, or the whole idea of like, well, if I don't cuss and I make sure I'm at church every Sunday and I do all those things, then God approves of me. Well, there's a lot of horrible people who go to church every Sunday who have a
Yes.
three-piece suit, who tithe
And
their
they're
10%,
dead inside.
dead inside, whitewashed tombs, and then there's a lot of wonderful people I've met and who love Jesus every day, who don't fit in the
Yep.
cookie cutter. And so that's the main message I try to promote and push to people. Recently I got some pushback on a cartoon I'd done where it was the panel. I'm in the first panel. I'm praying, asking God for forgiveness for going fishing instead of going to church.
Yeah.
And the second panel, Jesus isn't by me fishing and saying, you're gonna scare away all the fish. And so Jesus is out there with me fishing. I've had some people attack me on that by saying, it's really wrong that you're promoting that people not go to church. And I'm like, well, my main message is seek God first.
Yeah.
If you want to get close to people, go to church. And if you want to get close to God, you still can go to church. But a lot of times, church can be a distraction from, because people think, well, if my pastor and my congregation think I'm okay, then I'm good. Well, that's not.
No.
That's not. No, that's man's approval.
You like Keith Green, right?
Oh yeah, I love Keith Green.
Remember, going to church doesn't make you a Christian any more than going to McDonald's makes you a hamburger.
Absolutely. So, and that's a big part of my message is that I'm really trying to get
Yeah.
people to, like, for me, my main goal as a Tim Davis is I want to introduce people, as many people as I can, to Jesus, and how they respond to that is their responsibility. I'm not there to tell somebody like, well, these are all the steps you need to do before you can go to church, or these are all the
Yeah.
steps you need to do before you can come to Jesus. What I'm encouraging people is seek Him out, and once you have a relationship with God, the Holy Spirit will guide you on what you need to do to change and grow. Because I mean, after I'm 57 years old and 40, after being a Christian for 40 something years, I'm still a hot mess, and God's still working on me. And so
54
for
right
me,
here.
yeah.
Next,
So
this coming up month. 54.
awesome. Yeah, and so for me, it's like I try to let people know, like, it's not about works and performance. It's about
Yeah.
continually being at His feet, seeking His face, and we live in a society today where it's like if you're going to be accepted by a group, you have to follow a certain protocol. If you're in this political group, you got to make sure you vote on all these certain, laws or. And
Yeah.
on the flip side, you have these people who are, well, if you're going to be on this side, you got to make sure you hate these people and this people and blah, blah. And I'm like, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
Jesus,
No, no.
He says, come to the table.
Yeah,
And to
exactly.
the woman, the Samaritan woman at the well, there's so many stories where we look where Jesus is like, his disciples were so shocked at the time, like, wait, you're willing to talk to that person, And
Yeah, I
so,
hear you.
I was even laughing because one of the most interesting, I don't
Uh,
want to say ironies, but just faithfulness of God in my life. This Peace Festival was at a park down the street, probably a little less than a mile from our house where we live. And it's a park that's right next to one of our major harbors in
okay.
Chicago. And so Um, you know, 40 years ago, I was down there preaching the gospel on a stage, and now, 40 years later, I go down there with my fishing pole and my net and my gear, and I'm standing around, and people are walking up to me all the time in this harbor, just randomly talking to me. I don't know if I have a sign over my head that says "Talk to this guy," but a funny story was about 3, 4 years ago. I had a group of three Muslim guys walk up to me, start talking to me, and I know they said it's a big thing in their culture about beards, and they really love my beard, and they wanted to talk to me, and they asked me if I could teach them how to fish, and so I told them what gear to get, and we would meet every Thursday night, and we'd go fishing, and there was this one type of fish they really wanted to get in the fall in Chicago. In the fall, these king salmon come into the harbors. They had been going for king salmon for 3 years and hadn't caught a single thing. And last fall, I hooked into a king salmon, and the first thing I did is I handed the rod to my friend Pasha, my Muslim buddy, and he was shocked that somebody would do that for him. That somebody
Wow.
would actually. So I hooked into the fish and I said, "Here you go, Pasha, take over." And then I netted it for him, and his buddies were all standing around laughing and high fiving each other, taking pictures. And I jokingly turned to him and said, "Well, now you were praying to Allah, and I was praying to Jesus, and look whose rod got bit." And so we got to laughing with each other, and we could kind of tease each other and stuff. We weren't like, I wasn't sitting there like beating them over the head, but to them, they were kind of laughing, like, well, guess Jesus's fishing pole got struck faster than Allah's, but
He was a fisher of men, right?
yeah. So for me, it's just one of those things where I'm constantly looking, or not looking, but just the Lord constantly is bringing people into my life and sometimes it's just simple as just being kind and loving to somebody.
Yeah, of course. Exactly.
These guys aren't used to being treated with friendliness and kindness and outside of their own people
Exactly.
group.
That's what's winning this show over too. There's a lot
Yeah.
of people that I got 290 interviews already, and
Wow.
I've got a lot of good people on there. I mean that grown some good relationships with,
Yeah.
friendships with,
That's
I'm very grateful for. And
Yep.
it's timeless. Oh, okay.
Yep.
I got a question real quick. Okay, because were you a part of the Cornerstone stuff in 2002 and all that? Did you play at that? It says
When the
it says live at Cornerstone 2002.
Yeah. They called me up and asked me if I'd do a reunion show. It was the end of the festival, I think, Cornerstone
There was
Festival.
also one in 2012, I thought, or something.
Yeah, my timeline stuff is so horrible. So yeah, we did 2 shows, and it wasn't like the last you'll ever see a Crashdog, because I never thought we'd ever do it again. But the organizers for Cornerstone Festival, which is also a part of our organization, were um, looking to try to get people to perform, and they just reached out to me and said, if, could you think you could get the rest of the guys? And I got Greg, the drummer, and our bass player Brian Grover came, and then Andrew wasn't interested in playing and performing anymore, and so there was a buddy of ours who I know you've interviewed, Brian Gray.
Oh yeah, Brian Gray. Yeah.
Playing
From the
and stuff.
Blamed.
Yeah. He was always a big time friend, fan of Crashdog, and he was a very talented musician. So he jumped right in and helped us out.
That's so cool.
And so and it was one of those things that I'm not big into like, again, the music thing for me. I have no illusion of like being a punk icon or whatever. To me, my main thing, the reason why I was wanting to do it was I was wanting to tell people about my faith and share the gospel. Of course, obviously it's fun to be in a band, and it was whatever, but the
and the hockey. What's up with the hockey stuff?
So
you love your hockey,
I've always loved hockey, and I had right before a show one year early on, some friends of mine, some Canadian friends of mine, and here at G's People, gave me not a joke because I loved the hockey jersey, was the Canadian Habs, the Montreal Canadiens, who are now in the playoffs. But I was digging around for my old jersey trying to find it, but
Oh, that's
they
funny.
but and it was just kind of a fun little iconic thing to wear. And then, of course, obviously being a Chicago fan, I had the Chicago Blackhawks jerseys that we'd wear. And so, as I'm not really a big sports watcher, but I'm a big fan of hockey, love hockey, and I've tried to play it a few times, and uh, I'm an old fat man now, so it's not much of trying to make
I
a good
hear,
goal if I just laid there, but
I hear you there, man.
but
I hear you.
so and that's again just one of those things that kind of stuck, and we played it, and we went with it, and but again, like I said, for me, I certain phases in people's lives that you've outgrown or you've changed and whatever. But one of the things I've always felt really blessed about, and I'm not trying to say this to sound prideful or arrogant, but I'm grateful that I'm not embarrassed of what I did with Crashdog as far as making sure we were talking about Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the first person to admit, because
You're,
even recently I
you
got
guys will
tagged in
really
something.
kick butt too, man. I mean that
Well, I
it
appreciate it.
was
Thank you.
such an energy. I love the energy. I love that. It was a UK sound almost. I thought more
Okay,
UK-ish,
thank you.
which
Well,
I love that though.
even recently, and it made me pretty uncomfortable, but somebody had tagged me on a post in one of the Facebook forums about Crash Dog being one of the greatest Christian punk bands of the time. And of course, to us, we looked at bands like The Crucified,
Oh
and
yeah,
we
the
hit on a
crucified.
technical level. These are people who could blow,
I'll even
they
tell
could,
you they're my favorite. I'm sorry,
yeah.
they are my
Oh,
favorite.
doesn't confront me at all.
I
I'm
love them.
comfortable with being second place or third place or fourth place.
Hey,
I
you
we
always
would
got a
watch those.
place here, buddy.
Oh yeah, we would watch those guys and just we'd almost want to quit because they were just so good,
They are,
And
and he's still good. Did you see the
oh
new
yeah,
video of Jim playing drums? Was one of
I
the
know,
early.
but
He did it for
I think
Hellcorn, and
okay,
oh my lord, the drums were like better now than they were back then. Anyways, we
yeah,
have 1 minute left.
oh yeah, hands down, Jim Chapman's the greatest drummer to ever, in my opinion, that
Ever.
I've ever seen play. I mean, across the board, Christian, non-Christian, and I just respect him as a person. He's always been real kind to me,
Yeah.
and just great brother in the Lord. So yeah,
All right, man. I love you.
hey, I
We're
love you
not
too,
done.
man. Appreciate
We'll have you back again if you have something to say. How
it.
about
If
that?
I got something to say, definitely. Cool, man. Well, hey, I was going to tell you, if anyone wants to check out my cartoons, you can look up Amazon.com, Tim Spike Davis. I got cartoon books,
Right on.
and check them out, see what you think. So,
And they can find you on Instagram and Facebook, right?
Tim Spike Davis, yep,
All right. Thank you
absolutely.
very much, brother.
Hey,
God
thank you
bless
so
you
much.
and take care of yourself.
Bye bye, man.
All right.